Okay. We got some hips, we got some shoulders. You guys are just like, oh, so our goal today, because some of you, I know Sherry's done yoga with me. Katie has, I think Sarah, you might be the only one. So just know that the way I teach yoga is very much, I want you to connect to your breath and your movement. So if you feel good in something, don't feel like just because I'm moving to something else that you have to move, okay? So if you feel good in something, I want you to just simply embrace feeling good in it, right? And just breathe. So let's just start off with getting our arms in the air because we all just got out of bed. So just get a nice little like side to side. You can even put your hand down and just get a nice little stretch. See how that feels. See if you're like, oh, everything's tight. And then I'm going to bring my arms back here and I'm going to reach them all the way up. And then I'm just going to bring my elbows back down towards my midline, towards my spine, and just give myself a couple opening up the chest. I know we all do stuff with computers, so we're all like here, right? We want to be here. And then bring my arms back down to center. I'm going to roll my shoulders back. I might roll one, I might roll the other, roll them both at the same time, or maybe roll it forward. Whatever feels best to you. And then we're going to bring it to our head and neck. So I'm going to find a nice tall spine. I'm going to move it just gently side to side, see how it feels. Maybe I come to one side and I bring my head to my right side, take my right hand to the left side of my head, and just gently bring it over and feel that nice little stretch in the side of my neck. Take a deep breath. And bring it back. Nice tall spine, and then the other side. And bring it back. I'm going to go chin to chest, nice and tall. Take my hand to the back of my skull. Gently pull my chin towards my chest until I feel a stretch, maybe in my upper back. And then I'm going to bring it back to center, and I'm going to bring my head all the way up and look at the ceiling. And because we're all home, this is the fun one. You open your mouth and close your mouth. And when you do, you get that stretch in your neck. Then bring it all the way back down and just roll it out halfway all the way. And then bring our hands. You can be palms up or palms down, either or. Just gently start to close your eyes. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Exhale out through your mouth. And we're just going to take these first few moments to just simply breathe. So deep breath in through your nose. Exhale out through your mouth. And start off just by checking in where your breath is. Is it stopping in your chest? Are you allowing it to go all the way down into your belly? And let your belly get big like a balloon all the way around. And just take a few moments to settle into the rhythm of your breath. And that rhythm might change. So we might notice our breath is way in more in our chest. And what we're trying to do is allow ourselves to relax the shoulders down, breathe down into the belly. And as we start to settle into our space, I want you to do a little scan from the crown of your head to the tip of your toes. And I just want you to notice how your body feels. Does it feel awesome? Do areas and spaces feel good? Other areas feel tight and tense? Just a little scan up and down your body just checking in to see what areas that you need to focus on today. I like to imagine a little white light at the crown of my head, and I bring it down into the crown, all the way down my spine. And when it gets to the top of my pelvis, two split off. One goes down each leg. They crisscross at my ankles and come back up and meet back at my pelvis, and then come all the way back up to the crown of my head again. And I just follow that light up and down my body, connecting my breath to that light as I start to settle into my breath. And then I might do a little check-in with my mind, because we might not be awake yet. And just notice anything that's hanging around inside of you right now that just isn't serving you, that doesn't need to be there, or it's not honoring your space. So give yourself permission to just simply let go of those things that don't serve you today, to allow yourself to breathe, to move, to feel good, and to start off your day with intention, with focus, and movement. Inhale. Exhale, bring your shoulders down from your ears, press your sit bones into the block or the mat. And then I want you to find 5 slow inhales and exhales on your own. Make your exhale just a little longer than your inhale. And with each breath, you're just going to relax your body a little more. And you're going to let go of those things that don't serve you. So we can start off our day clear, with intent, with focus, and not to be brought down by things that are hanging out. So deep breath in through your nose. Exhale out through your mouth. And then you're going to open your eyes. You'll come off your block. And we're going to come into tabletop. So come to tabletop. I like to have wrists stacked underneath, shoulders. I like my knees a little bit wider than my hips, primarily because then I can move my hips a little bit from side to side and just kind of check in, because we all get real tight hips, and I know what I do to you guys 3 days a week. So I know your hips are nice and tight. All right, so from here, I'm going to come to neutral position. I'm going to do a little cat-cow. So I'm going to press it up like a cat, get a nice stretch in my upper back. And then I'm going to bring it back to neutral and then drop it down into cow. Now, if you have low back pain and you're like, I don't dig this, Holly, that's fine. You can come up to neutral. Don't drop the low belly and just bring the shoulder blades together. So then you press up to cat and then bring it back to neutral, and then think shoulder blades and then back to neutral. So if cat or cow, bugs you, because some people it does. That's just a way to modify it. Now we're going to come into thread the needle, because we need a little shoulders. So we're going to take our left hand to the outside of our mat. See how I can move my hips a little bit from side to side? I'm going to bring my hips over to the left. I might feel a stretch in the right inner thigh. And then I'm going to bring my hips over to the right. And I'm going to roll my right arm up. I'm going to thread my right arm underneath my left. I'm going to go back of hand, back of arm, back of shoulder, and I'm going to find a nice stretch in my back. Now, I like to come in and out of these poses because it gives you, we don't always get into that perfect pose. We rarely get into that perfect pose the first time. So this allows us to take a few moments to find a good space for us, a good breath. Now, you can keep your hand on the ground if you want. If you're like, shoulders need to stay here. When I put my hand here, I press into my hand and I'm looking at my hand, so I get a stretch a little bit more in my back. Now, if I'm feeling a little bit more open, I'm going to ground into the back of my right hand and bring my left arm up. And then I might bind it behind me if I want and bring it behind my low back or reach for my right quad. Now, what I want you to notice is if your left shoulder is rolling down, I want you to bring that left shoulder open up to the ceiling, and your gaze is going to go slightly to the ceiling. It's not as easy to take a deep breath, but you can try. And when you're ready, you're going to release. You're going to bring it back to center, back to cat-cow, and a little stretch in the middle. And then we're going to switch sides. So I'm going to take my right hand to the outside of my mat. I'm going to move my hips if I need to. And then I'm going to bring them over to the right, stretch in the left inner thigh, and then bring it over to the left. Roll it up. Thread it through. So back of hand, back of arm, back of shoulder. You might get a little pop in your back. Just be mindful. And always think about mindful movement. So getting into the pose in a mindful way that feels good to your body. So many times we just go so fast. Take a moment to breathe. So you can leave that right or left hand down. You can bring it high to the sky. You can externally rotate that shoulder and bring it to your low back sacrum. You can reach for that left quad. And then bring it back to center. Stop in the middle, find a cat-cow. Ooh, shoulders today, man. And then you're going to step your hands about one step forward. You're going to curl your toes. Oh, Sarah, be ready for this. And then bring it back and walk it out. Okay. So I'm going to bend my knees. I'm going to alternate. I might pick up a hand and then the other hand and just kind of move my body and check in. Now, I want you to look at your wrists. If you notice you have a crease in your wrist, because I'm forward right now, I want you to push your hips back towards the back of the room and try to not make a crease in your wrist and press through the palm of those hands. You're going to feel a nice big stretch in your hamstrings. Now, your feet might not be down. That's fine. You can always keep bending and moving. But what I don't want to see is this, right? I want to think about pressing back into my hips. Now, bend your knees. Look at your hands. Step, hop, jump, float, hobble if we have to. And then legs come straight, fingertips to shins. Now, if you need to have a little bend in the knee, you can. Goal here is I want you to think deadlift position with a straight leg. So you should be feeling a stretch. Nice back here, right? Okay. Exhale and fold, but we're going to bend knees. So I'm going to alternate. I'm going to bend a leg, straighten the leg. So I'm just like this. So I move a lot, but what I've found is if you connect your breath and your movement and you don't just stay in a solid position, that you will open up more spaces. So bend your knees, roll yourself all the way to standing, gentle little squeeze when you get to the top. So your nice tall posture, bring it all the way to the ceiling. Know that you can go anywhere you want when you get here. So I like to do things like roll it all around, maybe go from side to side, just kind of check in at the top and give myself anything I need. Now we're going to come back to center. We're going to exhale. We're going to fold it all the way back down to the floor. So this is where if you have blocks and you're really tight, this is what I do. I use blocks. There's no shame in my game. I use blocks because sometimes I'm just tight. Now, and I'll just put my blocks to the side whenever I need to. All right, we're going to go fingertips to shins. We're going to lengthen it up. Reason I go fingertips is if I'm flat, I can't get anywhere. If I'm fingertips, I can move my spine a little bit. Exhale and fold. Can always bend, can always move your body. Now plant your hands down, step back, hop back, or jump back. And you're going to go high to low. So your high to low push up, or you can bring it to your knees, lower it all the way down to the floor. Now, Cobra. So if we got low back stuff, I'm going to show you this way. If we got low back stuff, okay? Some of us are not here, right? Let me go this way. Some of us aren't quite here. If you are, awesome. If you need a little bit for your low back, you go down on your forearms, okay? I'm lengthening back. And I'm going to press through my forearms, squeeze my glutes just a little bit, keep my ribs in, and find this Sphinx pose. So think like I'm a cat, like, right? Or you can bring your hands back a little further and bring it all the way up. Just make sure your shoulders aren't forward, bring it back. And then meet me in down dog. Walk it out. Now we're going to bring our right leg high to the sky. So we're going to go three-legged dog. Okay. Kind of notice if your hip wants to open up, because mine wants to open up to the right. And I'm just going to bring my right knee in between, like to my chest. And then I'm going to lengthen it back up to the sky again as I lose my mic. I'm going to bring my knee in, lengthen it up. And then I'm just going to bring my right leg up and through to my hands. If I need to help it, I will help it. And I'm going to find this position. So look like me, and then I'll get you there. So I like to use blocks here. And what I want to do, because you guys have done something similar. See my back knee? It's not directly underneath my hip. So it's back a little bit, okay? And I have a little angle on my front shin. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a deep breath. On my exhale, I'm going to send my left hip down, and I'm going to line up my knee and get a deep stretch in my hip. Ooh, did we find that? So what I like to do first, I take blocks. Why? Because otherwise I'm having to come down here and get out of position. So I'm going to drive down the left hip and then find this nice little stretch. So first I'm going to just take a deep breath because it might be tight. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect two movements. I'm going to hinge my hip back, keep my heel placed on the ground. Sarah, you're going to love this. You'll find nice little stretch in the back of them hamstrings. So I'm not moving my heel stays planted. And then what I'm going to do after I take a deep breath and exhale, I'm going to control where I go. So I'm going to inhale, come forward. I might love this position and I might want to hang here for a minute, or I might just want to bring it back. So what this does is this gets left hip, and then we go into right hamstring. Ooh. Ooh, that's a little tight and tender today. Oh, we did so many deadlifts on Wednesday. That's why. Now, because I wouldn't be the awesome me that I am if I didn't add some, like I always add mobility drills into my class. So this same position, notice how my knee is not under my hip. I'm going to walk my right foot to the outside edge of my mat. Okay, if I need to get a deeper stretch, I might come off the knee and then come down, okay? But what I want you to do, so I'm not going to push out yet. I'm not going to come off and ride the outer arch of my right foot. And I'm going to keep my knee here and not open my hip up, okay? So what I'm going to do is take my right elbow at a 90-degree, I'll show you this in a couple of different ways, to the inside of my elbow. I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm going to exhale as I lower my elbow towards the floor without pushing out my right near foot. I'm going to inhale and bring it up. So you connect this to your breath. Thing is you might not get all the way down. So, and it might differ on each side. So I look like this. I take a deep breath. Now, don't be discouraged if you can't get to the floor. That's okay. It comes with time. Now, what I'm going to do if I get to the floor, or if I'm kind of like, that's kind of my limit, I'm going to walk my foot in just a little bit. And now I'm going to ride the outer arch of it. And I'm going to open this hip. If I need some support underneath my left hip, I'm going to take this and put this under right there. That's going to support my low back a little bit and allow this to open up. If you need, you can always have this awesomeness like this. Or I like to do little things. It just kind of depends. You just find where it feels good to you. I give people options. So you can always, I like to do little twists where I open up, but I'm always mindful when I go into a twist about lengthening my body out and then just being in a little good position and not twisting at the spine. And just take a couple moments to take a couple breaths here. Sometimes it's an uncomfortable space to be in, but as I like to tell people, we have to get uncomfortable to grow from things, or to be like, oh, to get through hard things. Sitting in a pose like this and being uncomfortable for a minute or two will open your hips, but it will also help you to let go when you're in difficult situations. So I'm going to bring it back up. I'm going to come all the way back up here. If I want a little Another hamstring stretch, I'll take it. And then what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take my blocks. I'm gonna turn sideways on my mat, and I'm gonna bring that same right leg up on the heel about 45 degrees, okay? Now look down at your left knee. I want it not underneath your hip. I want it to go a little bit wider, okay? Back toes on the back left foot can be up or down, okay? What I'm gonna do, you can have one block, two, whatever works. I'm gonna have a nice flat back. I'm gonna take a deep breath, and on my exhale, I'm gonna send my left hip towards my left heel, and I'm gonna find the stretch in my inner right thigh, okay? So, mine aren't that bad. This is what I do with this one, because sometimes when we get into that pose, if you notice your face is like, this is tight. I don't want you to stay in that position. I want you to think about inhale, bring it up. Exhale, send it back. Find the edge of that stretch. And then bring it up. And you decide how long you stay in it. You also decide when you connect your breath and you move yourself back, you find the edge of it. And each breath that you come out and come back in, you get a little bit further and a little bit deeper into that stretch. Focus on your face, and if you're all scrunched up or holding your breath. Now we're gonna bring it back to center. I'm gonna hip circle it. I might hug it in, I might donkey kick it, and just check in with that hip. See how it feels. Now, come back to tabletop, curl your toes, find your down dog. Walk it out. Check in with your right leg versus your left. And just feel the difference. Now, bend your knees, look at your hands. Step, hop, jump, float. Fingertips to shins, lengthen up. Exhale and fold. Notice if there's a difference in that right hamstring from that left hamstring. And then we're going to come fingertips to shins again, lengthen it up. Shoulders back, then plant your hands, step back, hop back, jump back, high to low. Find your up dog, your cobra, your sphinx pose, whatever feels best to your back. I like to keep my pelvis down. That helps with low back pain. And then meet me in down dog. Now we're going to walk it out if we need to. Press our hips back. Maybe our heels are getting closer to the floor. I'm going to bring that left leg into my chest and then lengthen it high to the sky. And I'm going to do a couple times. I'm going to bring to my chest and then lengthen it high and just find a nice little stretch. And then we're going to bring that left leg up and through. So this is where we just set ourselves up, right? Grab your blocks. You want to have that back right hip or back knee behind your hip. And then we're going to drive that right hip down. Ooh. You might notice the difference in one side from the other. This side's a little tighter. So if you notice, my breath went like that. So that's what you want to notice. And you want to notice if you're taking really short breaths or if you're letting it go into your belly. So once you find the edge of that stretch, ooh, that's way tighter than my other side. We're going to hinge back. We're going to lift the heel or lift the toes, but keep the heels down. And we're going to find that stretch on the other side. Ooh. And then you're going to come in and out of this a couple times. And you just decide what works for you. Ooh. And then when your body and your hip, because what happens with this is your hip starts to open up a little bit and then it goes, oh, the hamstring's not so bad. And when we're in like a traditional class and we're like, get to this pose and then you don't move, I want you to connect your breath to your movement because that's going to make your body feel better. I'm going to walk my foot to the outside edge. So my left foot's going to the outside. I'm going to come up off of my back toes and off the knee just so I can get a nice deep stretch. And then I'm going to bring my knee down and relax my back foot. Elbow at 90 to the inside of the left knee. Take a deep breath. Exhale and lower the elbow down to the floor without pushing out your left knee or foot. You might get there. You might not. You might get there on one side and not on the other. That's totally normal. The only reason I'm this open is because I've done a lot of yoga in the last few weeks. Now, when you find what feels good, that's when you're going to walk that foot into the inside and then ride the outer arch of that left foot. If you need that additional block underneath your quad, because it's a little bit more supportive of that low back, we're going to find here, and we're just going to take deep breaths. Exhale. Once you are ready, you're going to bring it back up. I might find a little stretch in that hamstring again. And then I'm just going to bring my left leg out 45. I'm going to bring my right knee between hip and shoulder. Back toes can stabilize. So right now I'm just in a good position. I don't feel a stretch, but when I send this hip back towards the heel, that's when I get the stretch in the inner thigh. Whoo, and this is where you want to look and be like, okay, make it a little warm all of a sudden. It's all good. And then you decide, I come in and out of this and just find the edge of that stretch. And as that starts to open up a little bit, you're going to bring that leg back to tabletop. You might cat-cow once or twice. And then I might hip circle, hug the knee in, donkey kick it, and just check in with that hip. And then I'm going to step my hands about one step forward, curl my toes, and bring my hips back and find my down dog. Walk it out. Notice if you're hugging your shoulders to your ears. Think about pressing back and making a little space. And then bend your knees, look at your hands. Step, hop, jump, float. Fingertips to shins. Lengthen up, shoulders back. Gazes to the floor. You want to think about crown of your head to the tip of your tail, making a nice line. Exhale and fold. Check in. How do those hamstrings feel? Maybe we're getting closer to the floor. And then bend your knees, roll yourself all the way to standing, gentle little squeeze, bring it all the way to the ceiling. And go where you want. Whew, how are we feeling, friends? Hopefully a little more flexy. That's always the goal. Okay, and roll those shoulders. We're gonna do, I'm getting warm now. We're gonna do a high lunge, but in maybe a different way than some of you have. But so many times I see this, right? I see this, right? I don't want that. I want to get good body position. So what we're going to do is I'm going to step back with my left foot. Okay. So I'm like my feet are directly underneath my hips, and I'm going to step back with my left foot. Okay. I'm going to train track it. Now notice right here, if your back leg's locked, how you can't move your pelvis and you can't fix anything, right? And you might be overarched right here. So I want you to bend the back knee. Yeah. Now you can fix your pelvis. Look at that. Look at that, right? So a little squeeze. Keep this little gentle squeeze, lengthen up, keeping the pelvis in a good position. Send the heel back, but don't touch it. So you should have a deep stretch right here. Okay. So if you're like, whoo, it's intense, you bend the knee. Okay. So let's all get out of it for a second, because that can be an intense one. So take it, instead of just think about bending the back knee and finding a good, nice tall spine. So I'm going to step it back again with my left. Whew. Find this, and then I'm going to bend the knee. Okay. Squeeze the glute, little gentle squeeze. You'll feel this quad fire. You're going to keep that squeezed glute, lengthen up, send the heel back. Whoo, hello stretch right here. Now your arms can stay here. They can be here. You can have them anywhere you want. If this becomes too intense and you're like, I am done with this pose right now, whoo, then you bend the back knee and you step it forward. And then you hip circle, whatever you got to do. Did you guys feel that kind of intense stretch right here? Okay. It's a little like, because what it does is we'll get into our low back when we don't pay attention to where our pelvis is. So we're gonna do the same thing the other side. We're gonna step it back with the right. Okay, I'm off my heel. Now right here, I can't do anything. So I'm gonna bend the knee. Squeeze, gentle squeeze. Keep that lengthen up. Now send the heel back. Whoo, but don't touch it to the floor. Find that deep stretch. Now, if you want to get a little deeper, I just shimmy my toes forward and then try to get a little deeper. Hands can be wherever you want them to be. Then bend the back knee, step it forward. Whew. We did that twice, so we're going to do that side again. So step it back, train, track it. They both have their own lane. Bend, whoo, find your balance. A lot of people don't realize this is a balance pose. Bend the knee, squeeze the glute, lengthen up, send it back. Ooh, got really warm with that one. When you're ready, you'll bend the knee. You'll step it forward. You'll shake it out if you need to. And then come to the top of the mat, bring your arms all the way up. Maybe a little mini back bend. Maybe you're bringing your arms back a little bit. Exhale, fold it all the way down. Fingertips to shins, legs straight. Halfway lift. Plant your hands, step back, hop back, jump back, high to low. And then little gentle squeeze of the glutes, keep your ribs in, lengthen up, keep the shoulders back and down. And you can either be full on Cobra, Sphinx pose, whatever works. Meet me in down dog. And then bring your knees down to your mat for a second, bring them wide, bring big toes can touch if you want, and find a child's pose. So in this pose, think about what your low back is doing and what your ribs are doing. So a lot of times we'll punch the ribs to the floor. I want to think about moving my pelvis just like I did in that lunge and sending my hips back towards my heels and lengthening my arms forward. So if you have blocks and you want a deeper stretch in the underarms, I like to bring them wide, or you can bring them in line. And I go thumbs to the ceiling and then send my hips back. And that way I can get deeper and drop in between my shoulder blades and get a deeper stretch. Just take a deep breath into your nose. Exhale out to your mouth. Check in with your body, with your hips. And then bring it back up to tabletop. Bring your knees underneath you. Step your hands about half a step forward. Curl your toes. Find that down dog. Bend your knees. Look at your hands. Step, hop, jump, float. Fingertips to shins. Lengthen up. Shoulders back. Exhale and fold. Bend and move as much as you need. And then bend both knees. Roll yourself all the way to standing. Gentle little squeeze. Bring it all the way up. Tell me how you're feeling. You can always do that with thumbs up too. Our hips feeling good? Do we feel like we have hips again? Yeah? Awesome. Okay. Here's one. If y'all got a block, if you don't have a block, that's okay. You can still do it without a block. I just like to do this with a block. So I use my mat as a gauge. My mat's a little wider. I go like hip width of my mat. So if this was my mat, I'd be like this, right? With my toes just slightly turned out. My block's going to be right here. Okay. You guys are going to probably slightly recognize this because it's kind of like a sit to stand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring myself to here. Okay. Shoulders are back. I'm going to bend my knees and drop down into a yogi squat. So if I can get down here, adjust your feet as you need and bring your elbows to the inside of your knees and open up. This is where I want you to be. Now, what I'm going to do is come in and out of this. So I'm going to bring my hands back here. I'm going to come back to where my legs are straight, my back. I can then do a little cat-cow if I want. So I go into cat and then I go neutral. Then I bend my knees, bring it down into a yogi squat. Now, if you don't quite have the yogi squat, here's a little trick for you. Take a little block like that. I take 2 blocks, right? We go like this, back to here, and here, and here. And then you just sit on the block and open up your hips. Now, we're gonna add a little shoulder in there because Katie wanted some shoulder, right? So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna bring my feet back underneath my hips. And I have a block if I need to. So I am going to bend my right leg deeply, and I'm gonna take my left hand and roll it up to the sky. Now, I might bring it behind me and open up the shoulder. And then what I'm gonna do is take my left hand, bring it back where my right is. I'm gonna bend my left knee, and then I'm gonna straighten my right and bring my right arm up. So you can take this as slow or as fast as you want. The leg that is straight is the arm that goes in the air. So when I come back right now, left leg straight, left arm up, and bring it behind me if I want. Nice. And then bend your knees, roll yourself all the way up. So if you notice, here, I'll do this test to you guys really quick. I'm gonna do a balance pose. So I want you to do something first, because this is the reason you'll see me do this versus this. And there's a reason behind that. So I want you to stand tall mountain, and I want you to bring your arms up wide like this, all the way to the sky, right? Now I want you to check in with your shoulders. How does this feel right here? You feel like you can stay here for a long period of time? Probably not. Now bring them down, shake them out for a second. Now what I want you to do, because our body and our muscles have lines, they have arm lines, leg lines, deep front lines, and they move in a certain way. So what I'm going to do is just move with my line. Okay, so what I want you to do is now do this. Now notice your shoulders. You don't even notice your shoulders, do you? You can maintain this position in your body. Bring it back down. Shake it out. Shake it out. So just a little tidbit of little reasons why I do things different. That's one of them, because otherwise you're sitting in yoga like this. Oh my God, let me out of this class. All right, we're gonna do a little balance. I'm gonna give you guys some options because I love balance. So I'll give you a couple options, and you could do this with a wall or without one, okay? So we're gonna do, I'll give you 2 options. We're gonna do warrior 3, because I know you guys know that one. And maybe I'll do standing pigeon and maybe a dancer if somebody wants to get all fancy. So warrior 3, okay? So I'm gonna balance, remember we did this in a workout. I'm gonna balance, I'm gonna think big toe, pinky toe, center of my heel. And I'm gonna find this first. So I'm gonna raise my left leg up. I'm gonna gently squeeze my butt, shoulders are back. And then I'm gonna find, and sometimes your balance might be off, and that's okay. And you can always come in and out of this a couple times, see how it feels. Your balance might be crazy. Nice, Sarah. Nice, Katie. Katie, you're getting all fancy. If your shoulders get here, you can do this too. She's like, oh, I'm not. So where I'm at here with my hands is like this. It's prayer pose with your hands behind you. It's a little more challenging. You got to keep your ribs in. Whew. Nice, Tara. Nice, Sherry. Nice, Sarah. Yes, Sarah, that would be modification. So if you can't get here, we go here, or we just go here. So we just think about though, bringing shoulders back, but not punching ribs too much. Nice, switch legs if you haven't. You might not have, you might not have. So same thing, big toe, pinky toe, center of your heel. And exactly, your arms might come different ways. And sometimes if I fall, I usually have blocks near me. Then I just turn it into another pose and do like standing splits or something like that. Or whatever works. So I always make it so it's like if you fall, you just turn it into another pose. Like you meant to do it, right? So if I was here and I find this and I'm like, oh, I just meant to do that. Now a nice little stretch. Nice. Who's done dancer before? You guys are like, what's dancer? Katie has. Let's try dancer. And you can always have something to hold on to, okay? So dancer pose. Balance is huge here, all right? So think about big toe, pinky toe, center of your heel. There's two ways you can put your hand placement. So you can either go inside of your foot, which your shoulder is externally rotated, or you grab the outside of your foot and your shoulder is not externally rotated. I prefer this way, but it's personal preference. Think about grounding into your foot. My hand's on a wall right now, which is why I'm not falling. What I'm going to do is with my breath, I'm going to almost treat my leg like a bow and arrow. Now, if you need, what I want you to do is think about pressing your foot into your hand and your hand into your foot and pushing your foot away from you. Yes, Katie, nice. And almost making a bow and arrow. Nice, you guys. Nice, Sarah, there you go. Sarah, you got tight quads and hamstrings. You'll feel it in this one. There you go, Tara. Nice. Katie, that's exactly what you do. I turn dancer into like a, I don't even know. So if I fall, I basically go to this. And then I just find two blocks and then find another pose. So yeah, nice, Sherry. Try the other side if you haven't. So I'm just going to ground in to my left foot. Find this first and grab either the inside or the outside. My left arm is going to come high to the sky. I'm going to find my breathing first. If you're not breathing, this will become a lot more difficult. Ground into my foot like my foot is part of the floor. As I start to bring my hand down, my leg is going to come up and I'm going to push my foot into my hand and my hand into my foot. Whew. Hard to talk and do that pose at the same time. Nice, you guys. Nice. Last one we're going to do, and you can use a wall if you want, is I'm going to bring my right ankle above my left knee, and I'm just going to kind of sit down. I use a wall on this one, so if I want a deeper stretch, I will use something to hold on to, so then I can take basically the balance out of it and get into the hip. If I want to balance, same thing we've been doing, big toe, pinky toe, center your heel. I bring in here. This is where you get fancy and you bring it down to the floor. You just switch sides and just find a nice stretch in that hip. See how it feels. Nice. Nice, Sherry. All right, check in with those hips, how they feel. Do we feel like, whoo, I might feel decent today. Okay, we're gonna do one other stretch on the ground and then we're gonna come into Shavasana, okay? Because that's the best part of yoga. So I'm gonna bring it down here. And what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna go wide first, and then I'm just gonna bring my right foot to the inside of my left inner thigh. So think tree pose, but you're on the floor, okay? I'm gonna flex my toe back towards me. I'm gonna lengthen my arms up. Maybe I wanna come back a little bit. And then what I'm gonna do is hinge at my hip. I might not get to my foot, and that's okay. And if I need to bend my knee, that's all right. I'm gonna hinge at my hip. I'm gonna lengthen my arms forward until I find the edge of that stretch of my hamstring. And that means I might not be to the floor. That means I might feel it right here. And then I'm gonna bring it back up. And then exhale, hinge at that hip, bring it back down. If I can get to that foot and I want to bring it down and around my back a little bit, I certainly can. I'm going to bring it back up and I'm just going to switch legs. So think seated tree pose. Legs flexed towards you. This, if you got really tight hamstrings, really easy thing to do is take like little blankets and put them up underneath your knee. That way it's not so intense in your hamstring. So I'm going to come back here. I'm going to hinge at my hip. Ooh, that hamstring's a little tight. Hello, good morning. And I might come up and down once or twice. Last little one we're going to do is we're going to come wide. So I have some ladies that are like, "Ooh, Holly, I need the blocks for this one." And that's okay. So what I want you to do first is just notice where your knees are, if they're rounding in, or if you got your toes flexed towards you. If you need a block in this, it's totally fine, okay? What you're going to do, you're going to find a nice tall spine, and I'm going to hinge at that hip again, and I'm going to walk it out until I feel a stretch in that inner thigh. Now, you might get here and be like, "Oh, I need a block right here." I got one girl that sits right here and she's like, "This is amazing." Full extension of this is there. I do not expect you to get there. You can, some of you might. I never, side note, this is because of a lot of yoga. It's only because of a lot of yoga. I wasn't at this point, I would even say at the beginning of the year. Now you can always come in and out of this. So you can always come out of it and then ease back into it, just depending on how you feel. Now, Shavasana, favorite, best part of yoga ever, right? I want you to take up as much space as you want. So think about, I don't have to be stuck in my rectangle, right? I can take up as much space as I want. So I want you to get as comfortable as you can, where you are just like, ugh. So I'm going to walk you through just like a little mini body scan. And that's all she wrote today. So good to see you guys this morning. So get comfy. Any spot that you want that works for you. And just take a deep breath in through your nose. Exhale out through your mouth. Just take these few moments. Settle into your breath, settle into your body. Give yourself a big thank you, pat on the back for coming to class today, for taking time to move, breathe, feel how your body is doing today. Just allowing yourself to simply be. Take a deep breath into your nose. Exhale out through your mouth. Let go of anything that's still hanging around that doesn't need to be there. And start to relax your feet, your toes, the soles of your feet. Relax and release your ankles, the front, back, sides of your shins. Even let your kneecaps just sink down a little deeper to your mat. Really letting the weight of your legs and your feet start to settle against the back of your body. Take a deep breath into your nose. Exhale out through your mouth. Release that grip, that tightness that we hold in our pelvis, and notice how much more open, relaxed, released our low back, belly, even our hips are. Soften your belly. Relax the front, back, sides of your ribs. And notice the rise and fall of your breath. Notice the rhythm of your breath and just how different it is from the very beginning of class. Soften your skin over your heart. Allow yourself to be open to giving love, receiving love, and seeing all the love around you and inside of you. Allow yourself to let down some of the walls that we like to build up. And be open to the love that's trying to come to you and receive it. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Exhale out through your mouth. Release your hands. Relax your fingers. Allow your fingertips to naturally just curl towards the palms. Settle into your forearms, elbows, upper arms. And soften your shoulders down from your ears. Release your jaw. Relax your throat. And allow your tongue to rest naturally on the roof of your mouth. And let those little lines we get in our forehead, let those lines relax. Let all the thoughts, the worries, the fears, the to-dos, all the things that we keep up in our mind, just allow them to just go to the side for a moment. And allow your mind to relax as much as you are allowing your body to. Feel the weight of your body settling in to the back of your body. And feel your body expand. Feel the front and the sides of your body expanding into the air around you. And allow yourself to take up space. Enjoy that spaciousness that you created inside and all around you. And feel that connection you have to yourself, to the earth, and to other people. So breathe in love for yourself and breathe out love and kindness for others. So take a deep breath all the way down into the belly. And just let everything go. Deep breath into your nose. Exhale out to your mouth. Slowly start to wiggle our fingers, our toes. Start bringing us back into the start of the day. And as you start to ease those fingers and toes, feel free to come to your right or your left side. You can take a moment to curl up in the fetal position. And just give yourself a moment. And then using the arm you're not using as a pillow, you can use it to push yourself all the way back up to where we started. So as I end every single yoga class I teach, and those of you who have been in my class know that I haven't changed that Shavasana in years because it's just too good. Bring our hands to heart center. The light and teacher in me honors the light and teacher in each and every one of you. Namaste. And I hope you feel amazing and that you have an awesome, beautiful Friday. So, oh, yay. Oh, good stuff. Please tell me how you feel because I'm really